Hey guys, Steve from Top Guns again. You know, a question we often get when people come in and look for a gun is whether they should get a manual safety or not get a manual safety on their weapon. For those of you that don't know what a manual safety is, basically what we're talking about when we say manual safety is on the side of a gun, and in this particular case we've used two very similar Smith & Wesson M&P series, and on the side is going to be a lever that can be engaged. On this one there is no lever. And so on this one, there's a physical lever that you can engage to put the safety on versus having one that does not have it. For someone who is new to the industry, we most often hear, I want a gun with a manual safety. And so I'm going to give you a couple of arguments, both directions, and you guys can make the decision and the choice that best suits your needs. Often I hear for people who are new and they want, and not just new, but also people who are experienced, and they want a manual safety, it's often the case that they want a manual safety because they have children around, or they want a manual safety so they don't accidentally shoot themselves. And while that's a decent reason to have a manual safety and that you're looking at safety, that's always a good thing. A manual safety can also be a false sense of security. And so what I mean when I say that is that lever, although it is a lever there, if your means of keeping your child safe is this one little lever, that's probably not enough. And if a child can operate that trigger, they can probably activate or disengage the manual safety. So we would say that you know, if you've got children around the house, don't count on that to prevent an accidental or negligent discharge or an accident from happening in general. So that's one piece of it. The other is that we often hear that I want it for myself so that I don't accidentally shoot myself, you know, when I'm putting it in my holster, or I don't accidentally pull the trigger when I've got it out of the holster. And so what we would say is, if you are getting trained and if you are going through the steps to create proper muscle memory and keeping your finger off the trigger, then a gun without a manual safety can also be a very safe tool to have on your side, especially if you have a holster that covers the entire trigger guard and the trigger assembly so that you're not getting something caught up in there. Now, I then hear, what's the argument of wanting a gun for? Why would I make these arguments that you might not always want a manual safety? The reason is, we often, especially under stress, we react and we are only able to really function out of muscle memory. And so a lot of our fine motor skills go away, a lot of our ability to think and rationalize through a situation goes away, and the only thing we're able to do is allow our body to kick into autopilot, and the muscle memory kicks in and our body does what it's done time and time again. The same as you stick a key in your ignition, the same as you hit a tennis ball with a tennis racket or a baseball with a bat. Anything that you do, you've created, and you've done enough repetitions that you've created this muscle memory. And ideally, you want to do the same with the firearm, so that when you pull your weapon out, God forbid, and you are defending your life or the life of someone else, that you're not stumbling with that particular tool and not being able to operate the machine that you have in your hand. So, you know, there have been law enforcement officers in the past that have lost their lives to having a weapon with a safety, going up to fire to defend their life or someone else's, and the weapon didn't work. They did what their muscle memory taught them, which was to clear the weapon and rechamber. But unfortunately, in a couple of instances, it didn't work out. And when they went back and reviewed video, they found that it was the safety that had still been engaged, and the officer, again, as any of us would probably do under that kind of stress, wasn't able to think about the fact that that safety was still engaged. So that's why you see a lot of experienced shooters who have been in the industry for a while kind of leaning towards a non-safety unit, but carrying it as safe as possible and an appropriate holster that covers the trigger guard, and not pulling it out unnecessarily, and not doing stupid things and showing it to your friend every 5 seconds, but keeping it holstered unless the occasion arises that you need it. If you are going to carry a firearm with a manual safety, what we would encourage you to do is commit to training with it, get some professional training, go to, there are certainly lots and lots of academies and training facilities out there that offer plenty of repetitions where you're putting a lot of rounds downrange and where you're holstering, unholstering, disengaging your safety. Create that muscle memory so that if you are put in a position where you do have to defend your life or someone else's, your body is kicking in and automatically disengaging that safety without your brain having to tell it to do so. Hope this helps. If you would, please comment, give us your thoughts on it down below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks. Take care.